Texas's governor continues to pass extreme laws that encourage dangerous vigilantism, the latest targeting trans youth and their families. I'm Yoonj Kim, and this is MTV News Need to Know. This week, Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Attorney General Ken Paxton claimed that gender-affirming procedures for young trans people are child abuse. Abbott ordered the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services to investigate any reported instances of minors undergoing transition-related treatments in the state. In Abbott's letter to the TDFPC, he wrote that professionals who directly interact with young people, including teachers, nurses, and doctors, would face criminal penalties for not reporting the treatments. Parents of trans youth could also be subject to prosecution for failing to make reports. And we're talking about tearing apart families, all because parents are supportive of their children's gender identity. And many have condemned this right-wing-led attack and rallied support for trans youth. GLAAD President and CEO Sarah Kate Ellis said in a statement, "Healthcare is just that, care." And to suggest that trans youth should be separated from their families sends a terrifying and alarming message to kids and parents, not just in Texas, but nationwide. And activist Raquel Willis noted, trans youth aren't just bullied in schools and by peers, they're bullied by some of the most powerful adults in this country. This is just the latest in an onslaught of dangerous legislation across the United States targeting LGBTQ+ youth, and especially young trans people. Over 100 similar bills were introduced in 2021 alone in the US, attacking trans youth's ability to play on sports teams, use bathrooms, access necessary health care, and more. And on Thursday, Florida's Don't Say Gay bill passed, sparking outrage as discussions about sexual orientation and gender identity will now be banned from schools. The order in Texas is scarily similar to the state's radical abortion law that went into effect last year. It banned all abortions after just 6 weeks of pregnancy, and it made being involved with an abortion, from just driving someone to a clinic to actually getting one, a criminal offense that gave civilians huge financial incentives to report. Both this and this new order targeting trans youth empower vigilantism, an especially dangerous move given that young mothers who have unintended pregnancies and trans people experience high rates of domestic violence. These measures are targeting some of the most vulnerable people in this country. For example, teen mothers experience depression and suicidal thoughts at higher rates than women who become mothers in their 20s and 30s. And just 2 months ago, the Trevor Project released a study showing that gender-affirming hormone therapy is directly linked to lower rates of depression and suicide among trans and non-binary young people. In declaring gender-affirming care to be child abuse, this order in Texas is an attempt to control people's bodies and puts an entire community at risk, physically and mentally. So who's really doing the abusing here? Abbott and Paxton's motions are not binding yet, but other bills targeting young trans people have recently passed across the country, including 10 sports bans. And 5 Democratic DAs in Texas pledged to not prosecute trans youth care. 3 of those DAs standing up for trans youth are on the ballot this year, and 2 of them face heated competitions from Republicans. This is a tough reminder of why showing up for local elections is so damn important. It's an immediate way to keep fighting for the most vulnerable among us. So keep spreading support, like this message from the ACLU. Trans youth are loved, trans youth are beautiful, trans youth belong. I'm Yoonj Kim, and that's what you need to know.